Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are, welcome. I'm glad you could all be with us. This is May 23rd, 2016, and this is Motivational Monday, where for the next hour, we're going to talk about business blogging. This is our 8th session, and today we're going to take a look at 7 blogging mistakes many bloggers, newbies, and experienced bloggers alike most often make. As usual, comments, questions, issues, critiques are always welcome. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Steve, and I'm known online by many as the WordPress Wizard. I've also been called the Coach's Coach and the Web Guy for Coaches. I've been called a few other things too, but we won't talk about those here. I'm a published author, a WordPress instructor, and an online presence developer. I earn my entire living right here on the web, and most of that's by helping others to do the same. I'm the founder of wizardsplace.com, and you can contact me through that site or by email, and I'll post those links in the sidebar in a moment. And I work with coaches, home-based business owners, heart-centered marketers, writers, and other creatives, all solopreneurs who, like you, are serious about moving their business forward, who need to expand their marketing reach, and who just want to develop a successful online presence so they can work less and earn more. That's a good thing to do. And I'm approachable, affordable, and the first half-hour consultation is always free. I'm certainly glad to talk to anyone who wants to discuss their business and online presence needs. You should contact me today to begin your journey from website to wealth. So that's the formal introduction. I want to say welcome to everybody that's here. Thank you for dropping by. I've got some good stuff to share today, and I think you're going to like it. And yeah, I stole that welcoming line. Actually, I just changed it today. It just came to me, and I edited the text as I was putting it up. So it's been a while since I've actually made it to your show, Cindy. Do put the link in for other people. I keep trying to get there, but it happens to hit a time when I'm just always busy. So I got to make time in there for it. It's a great show, and I miss it, actually. I've been on it a few times in the past, and I commend it to everybody else. So pop your link in when you have a moment there. I think people will enjoy it. So here we are. We're on Motivational Monday, and that's what this is all about, is being motivated. And motivated is more than just hype and fluff and pumping you up. Sometimes it's providing you with the good material that you need in order to move forward, and that forward motion helps motivate you. We get into doldrums. We get caught by our own inertia. And inertia works both ways. When you're moving forward, inertia keeps you moving. But when you're sitting, inertia keeps you in place. So, it's just a kind of thing that if we can get you going, the getting going itself will motivate you to keep going. So that's cool. Alex, welcome. Glad to have you with us. And we're going to cover some things on business blogging today. Just going to clean up a few housekeeping things for the moment. I want to remind you that Wizard's Place is on Blab 3 times a week. Motivational Monday, WordPress Wednesday. That's day after tomorrow. We're going to be discussing Poodlepress's new Page Builder Pro and a couple of other page builders that are available now. I got a copy of the Page Builder Pro, and I am really liking it. I'm kind of blown away by some of the things that it does, and it is so easy to use. Sometimes these page builders, when you first look at them, it's just overwhelming getting a hold of the concepts and figuring out what to do. And this one just sort of naturally fits in with WordPress. It's the best interface for page building that just seems to naturally flow. I like it for that reason. There's many other technical things about it too that are good. So we'll talk about that on Wednesday. And then Focus Friday, which is a focus on you and your business. So drop by, and on Friday, please feel free to jump into a seat that will be able to share your business, your successes, and the things that are troubling you, the problems you're having and need help with. We'll be glad to talk about those too. Other people can offer their help, and I may have an idea or two, and we'll kind of poke away at it. So that's Focus Friday, focus on you and your business. I did say I would post my email and my website address in the sidebar, so I better do that so people can find me, get a hold of me. And knock on wood, Blab seems to be working pretty well today, so hopefully everything will move along and stay in tune today. I know they've had some troubles in the past week or so, but they've been working hard to get them cleaned up. I still think that Blab is the #1 live streaming platform today, and I think that in the next coming period, we're going to find that there isn't much that's any better coming along, because this pretty much has the bases covered. And it's growing. It's got some growing pains. They're experimenting with different things that people are asking for, and I think they're wisely discarding some and spending the effort to fix and improve others. So it'll be a growth curve for a while. But in my own experience, even with the problems that's been here, I'm hanging out here. So no pun intended. And we'll see if this doesn't outlast several of the others that are kind of slipping, and a few of the new upstarts that want to do it but may not be able to. If you have a question, feel free to post it in the sidebar, and I'll try to answer it and get to you. If you post the question with a / and the letter Q, then a space, and then type your question and press enter, just like you'd put something else, a comment in the sidebar, only put that / Q in front of it. It gives us a little blue circle that has a Q in it there that stands out. I call it a Q ball. And it lets me see that there's a question. If you're just commenting, chit-chatting with somebody else, that's okay. Please feel free to use the sidebar for communication while you're here. This is all about communication and information sharing, so you're welcome to do that. But if you have a question, flag it with the question so that I can kind of get a handle on it quickly and see what's going on. I don't always see the things that are posted there as I'm busy doing the presentation, and I try, and we like to get it going. But we do try to get onto those things. Peter, welcome. I see you just joined us. Thank you. And Cindy says that Blab is no longer promoting itself as a place for podcasts, but instead as a place to hang out with your people. And I think in many ways that's always what it's been. Perhaps they didn't even recognize their own animal. I've always described Blab as a coffee shop. If you use the analogy, if you think of a coffee shop and a table, and usually the tables have 4 chairs around them. And so, the 4 seats that we have available to us here in the Blab is a kind of a representation of the coffee shop. And we can sit around the table and we can chat. And it's more about that, about sharing. And the analogy to the coffee shop extends even further, because in a coffee shop, you have people that drop in, pick up their coffee, and drop out. And as they're walking in and standing at the counter waiting and then turning around and walking out, they may overhear you talking about something as you're sitting at the coffee table. And when they do, they might stop and they might listen for a while, sip on their coffee, and then move on. Well, we have a few people already today. We've had a few people that have dropped in, haven't liked what they've heard, and they've left, or they've dropped in for a little bit, heard a bit, said, okay, got to drink this coffee and get on to work, and they've moved on. And some stay. And, some will pull up a chair and join at the table, and some will just kind of stand around and listen. And that's the wonderful thing. And then the people standing around will talk with each other. And so there's your typical coffee shop community. And here we are in exactly the same thing, even down to the coffee. Oh, that mug needs to get washed. It's getting a little bit spotty there. So anyway, that's, I think, where Blab does best. And it is a great source for teaching, and it's a great source for sharing, or a resource for teaching and a resource for sharing. And I'm going to be making use of it that way as well. But it is best when it's a place for engagement and community. So I think we'll see it stay around for a long time for that. When it comes to teaching in the sense of actual sharing of specific and technical information, then something like Zoom, for example, is a better choice because you can more readily share screens and more readily get involved with exchanging other information and files and so on. And that's not Blab's purpose. Some people have tried to make that into Blab's purpose, and some people have requested services like screen sharing, and there is a rudimentary screen sharing here now. I've used it for a couple of slideshow presentations that work out well. I actually dropped into a Blab just before coming on here. I recognized the name and I wanted to see what they were doing, and they weren't even there. They had a YouTube video set up on a screen share, and the way it works when you have a video set up like that, when you access the Blab, the video starts playing. So they had two of them recorded in a Blab. It was a Blab recording that was put on YouTube. So they had the two of them there talking, and it started automatically whenever you joined their session. So I'd seen their sessions before, and they've had them on all day, and I've kind of wondered what they're doing. Well, they're not even there. They're putting their Blab up, their pre-recorded Blab, and letting that play. So that's kind of interesting. Led Zepp, hey, cool. I was a Led Zepp fan, still am. So hope that's what you're referring to. Anyway, and the Hello Room, I like that, good name. Here was a Blab, which I thought was kind of cool because it was a recorded live session. And I'd never seen that before. There were no actual people there, just the recording. So that's a different take on how to use Blab, and it's cool. As you know, I tend to share some stuff in these Blabs on a regular basis. We used to do all this on Fridays, called Freebie Friday, but we've changed the structure of that, and so now I share stuff throughout the week, and I've got kind of a bit of a routine that I follow. I like to share a Facebook group, and this is one. It's a small but fairly rapidly growing group. It's up over 100, maybe about 150 people now. And it is an interesting group that seems to be catching some traction. So a little bit of good interaction with the players. And it's called Promote Your WordPress blog or website. So if you have a WordPress blog or website, drop by this Facebook group and join, and then promote it, and drop in from time to time and chat. These things only work really if you participate in them, and this looks like it's a group that's going to get a little bit of traction, so it should be worthwhile. I also share some books because I think reading is important to business building. It certainly is a good place for ideas for business blogging, even if you only skim the book or read the title and the foreword to it, you might get a couple of ideas for blogs. So I've got a couple of books to share today, and they're both directly on topic for what we're doing. One is called The Blogging Black Book, and it's kind of a all-in guide. The subtitle is Everything You Need to Know About Blogging from Beginner to Expert. I'm not sure that it covers all of that. That's a pretty grandiose concept to get all of that into one book, even a very large book. But it certainly covers some good material, and I do recommend it. And then there's another book which I haven't actually seen. I picked it up this morning, and I haven't had a chance to look at it, but it caught my attention. It's certainly an area of interest to most people who are blogging. And it's called How to Start a Profitable Blog. So I wanted to look at that, see if there were any new ideas. But even if there aren't any new ideas, it looks like it's got a few established ideas that may help you with getting those sort of things going. So that's my two books for today. And those are both Kindle books from Amazon. They're both free. I don't know how long they'll be free, but they are free today if you want to grab them. And if you don't have a Kindle app, you can read Kindle books on almost any device. So the Kindle apps are available at that link on Amazon. You can get them for your smartphone, your tablet, your desktop, your laptop, whatever it is you're doing. And so that's a good start for reading. And kind of following on to that, this is something that I got alerted to today, and I think it's worth looking at. If you haven't written a book but you're considering doing it, it's quite easy to get published today. And having a book is a good way to promote yourself, promote your business, get some exposure, and be seen as an expert in the field. So there is a self-publishing summit that's just starting, and it's get that in there, not broken. There we go. Self-Publishing Success Summit. You can go to that link and see what it's all about. It's free and a lot of great information. I was on it last year, and it seems to be a little bigger and better this year. It was certainly worth the time last year, and I'll be hanging out there this year as well. Some good material. We're talking about business blogging, and business blogging is a great way to start working towards a book. Some people say, oh, I could never write a book, but you can write a blog. And so if you accumulate enough blog posts, you've got a book. Put them together, publish them, get them out there, get your name on a book, share it around, get your contact information on the back page of the book. You know, there's some really good value to that, and it can be done one bite at a time. You know the old joke about how do you eat an elephant. And it's just, when you're blogging like that, you're writing 350 to 500 words at a sit, and you can get it all together. And when you're done, you've got a book. Seth Godin, you know the name? Pretty popular guy out there, made himself a lot of money online, and has sold a lot of books. Look up Seth Godin on Amazon and see how many books he's got out there. His first book was a collection of his blog posts. So you can do it too. That's worth having a look at. And just a little plug here for a couple of things. Wizard's Place WP Classroom is where I teach about WordPress. And we just added some new videos there. And you can find those if you're a classroom member. A couple of people here today are. You can find the new video set on the videos page. And it's a bit of an update to WordPress 4.5. And for those who aren't classroom members, you may want to check that out and see what we're doing. It is a good way to get some detail on an ongoing basis. And I'm just going to mention my Wizard's Place content creation workshop, which is coming. We've still not launched, but it is coming, and it's going to be a pretty impressive program, I think. So more news about that as it develops. I shared this last time, and I'm going to share it again because I think it's important to what we're going to talk about today. And it is the idea that content marketing gives you 3 to 1 the results of traditional marketing. And it does that 3 times. It does that at 62% less cost. So for about 40% of the cost of regular marketing, you can get 3 times the exposure and the benefits with content marketing. And blogging, business blogging, is the foundation of content marketing. So if you're running a business blog, if you have any kind of a business site, website, if you are a coach, a trainer, a retailer, if you're providing a service, if you're promoting your brick and mortar business, your service business out in the real world, locally through a website, then you have the potential for a business blog. You can add a blog to your website, whether it's WordPress now and already has a blog built in, or it's not a WordPress website and you want to add a WordPress blog to it. You can do that and have a blog, and you can be content marketing easily through your WordPress blog. So it's certainly something to look at. For anybody who hasn't got a copy already, here is the book, Business Blogging, which is the cornerstone of this session, this series of sessions, the 10-week series that we've been doing on business blogging. And this is week 8, so we're getting down to the last couple. And that is the book that is the foundation for it. That's a free copy of it, a PDF copy, but it is sized to fit the Kindle. So if you have a Kindle or a Kindle reading app, it should worked pretty well on those. And if you just want to read it as a PDF with your browser or with the Adobe PDF reader, it'll be fine as well. And I'm going to share one other thing here before I just get into this material, and that is my own blog at wizardsplace.com. I call it the Wizards Place News and Information blog. And I'm sharing that because as we get into the material today, I want to put my own blog out there to say that, hey, I do some of these things wrong myself, and you can go over there and poke around it and dig into it and see just what it is that, hey, Steve does that wrong too. Whoa, you know, and there are some things that you know, I have done wrong in the past, and a couple of them I still do, or I struggle with. I know about them and I try not to do them, but they slip in, and it's hard. You know, this kind of stuff happens. So you want to think about that, and you know, I'm quite happy to put myself out there and say, hey, you know, this is what it's like. Now, I think I write a pretty good blog. I don't, well, I won't say what I don't do because we're going to cover those, but I do make some mistakes, and they show. But that also is the proof of the pudding that you can blog without having to be perfect. Don't worry about getting it all right. Just get blogging. And so is there anybody here that has trouble blogging, you know, finds it really tough to get those blogs done? If so, just put a yes or a yep, me too, or something like that in the sidebar there. And especially, is there anybody who has actually, since hanging out with this series of business blogging presentations, who has picked up the harness and dug into it and actually started blogging on a more regular basis? If you want to just put something, you know, started, good word, just to pod in the sidebar, and maybe make a comment about how it's working for you. I know it's hard, it's tough, but if you're actually writing a blog every day or every couple of days or a couple of times a week, and you're getting into that rhythm, you may find that it's really actually starts to work and develops its own life. So it's good. Catherine says that she started blogging on a weekday basis last week, and she's already seeing results. Yeah, it doesn't take a whole long time. Sure, you're not going to have people flog into your site, you know, and buying stuff from you on a regular basis, but you're going to get comments. You're going to have people drop by. It actually, you know, gets things done. Barb, you say you're writing but not posting. That's an interesting comment. And my only question would be, why not? If you're writing, it doesn't take much more to post. And if you're saving it for when you're ready, that's now. Because if you're going to be ready to roll out your services a week from now, or a month from now, or even 6 months from now, if you're honest and you know you've procrastinated and it's just going to take you time, and it always takes more time than you thought, and so you know you're not going to be ready this month, you may not be ready next month, it's going to be a while. Get those blog posts out there now, because you know what? Blog posts are kind of like house dust. It keeps as long as you keep it dry. So if you put blog posts out there, they're there on your blog, and people will go back and read them later. And when you're ready, people will already be coming to your site. So you can get a little bit of traction going by blogging now, even if you're not ready to get the stuff out there. And so, you know, I've been a year. It's been almost a year to the day. It'll be a year on the 3rd of next month. So I'm 10 days away from it being a year that I've been working on this content creation workshop. And I've been talking about the content creation workshop since day one. I was probably talking about it before I actually started working on it. And I've been blogging about content creation because I think it's very, very important. So you get out there and you get that done. And also, if you're writing ahead of time for blogs, don't hang on to them to say, well, I'll post this on Tuesday, I'll post this one on Thursday. Post them, but schedule them. WordPress allows you to schedule ahead, and then they're done. They'll start popping up when you least expect it. Well, They'll be exactly when you expect it, but you don't have to think about it, and we'll move on. Anyway, let's get into week 8 of our material, and this is the 7 business blogging mistakes that you need to avoid, the 7 sins of blogging. And if you're running a business blog, running the blog is easy, but the hard part is getting it done on a regular basis and avoiding the mistakes that are so easy to make. So maybe this list of 7, if you take some notes, you may have some things that you can look at. And the first one, and I've talked about this many times in different ways, in different forums and different approaches to things, because it really tends to go across the board no matter what you're using your website or your blog for. And that's the idea of having a weird design or layout. A lot of people do that. They spend so much time figuring out how to lay out their blog and make it different and get a theme that's so cool and different than anything else. And a lot of different stuff coming along that people are jumping on the bandwagon with, and they don't really understand why they're doing it, but hey, that's what everybody else is doing, so we'll do that. And really, your design should simply be appropriate for the purpose and easy to navigate. And so you want to have a blog that looks like a standard website. So when people come to it, they can find your site, they can get their way around the site, and they can get the content that you want to deliver to them. If they're trying to figure out where you've got your menu hidden, or that they move their mouse to the right place, so aha, the menu pops up, you may, once you know that that's there, that's there. But the person coming to your site the first time may not know that, probably doesn't know that, looks around a little bit and leaves. If your menu is confusing, or lots and lots of menu items right in front of their face, 3-4 lines of menu points across the page, and especially if the each menu item is 3 or 4 words, as some people do, they put a description into the menu tag itself. Try to keep those to simply 1 word if possible, and 2 at most. You can say about me or about us, or you could just say about. People get it. If you use the traditional terms, your home page on the menu should probably say home. I've talked to clients who do not have their home page listed on their menu because their header or their logo clicks to take them to the home page. Well, it's okay that your header or logo clicks to take them to the home page, but if there's no menu item, a person may not discover that fact and may not get back to your home page. So you want to consider that. So the design and the layout of your website should be inviting, yes. Attractive, what I call pretty, yeah, that's okay. But don't spend a huge amount of time making it uniquely pretty. Put your brand on it, yes. Make it attractive, yes, but get it up there and make it work. So you want it to be functional and appropriate for the task. That's a critical thing. It's not something I'm going to go into a huge amount into the specifics here, because it's a whole different presentation. But I think you want to keep that in mind. Go back and look at your site, and remember that your website should answer 3 questions. This is Eben Pagan, the international marketer, who talks about this, and he says it should answer 3 questions. And I paraphrase those questions as, who is it, what's it about, and what do I get? Very, very simple questions to answer within 3 to 5 seconds of arriving on your page, and preferably in that area above the fold that they see all at once when they first arrive. And remember, your fold may be different than my fold. It depends on the screen resolution, the browser they're using, how many lines of stuff they have at the top of their browser. I have 5 at the top of mine. So it pushes the content area down, which means some stuff that may be above the fold on a simple browser will be below the fold on my browser. So you want to get it in that top section, not right down to where the fold is, but in that top section. And the biggest way you can do that, reduce the size of your header and think seriously about that big slider that you're having on the page. Okay, the big slider, if it serves a purpose, it's great. But if it just looks pretty, If you're just sharing some pretty pictures there, that's good for a personal blog, but not for a business blog. You want to get a message across. So keep that all in mind in your design and your layout. The other key for your blog, the mistake that people make, is trying to make it the main draw or the main focus for your website. We can argue this back and forth, and look, if you do differently than what I say, that's okay. There's more than one way to do things, so don't feel you have to take what I'm saying here. But these 7 points, if you find yourself that these 7 points apply to you, all 7 of them or 6 of the 7, you probably want to take a look at what you're doing and think it through. If 1 or 2 of them apply and you're making the change, you're doing it the way you're doing it with a decision, then that's probably okay. If these things just happen and you don't have a purpose for them, then you really want to think about them. Okay, so that's kind of how this works. And so making your blog the main draw for a business blog is not a good idea. If all you're doing is blogging, then it's okay to have the blog on your homepage. If that's what it is, if it's a blog, and you may have 1 or 2 other pages, like an about page that talks about you, and a contact page, so people can get a hold of you. But basically, that's all you're going to have. 3, maybe 4 pages, besides the usual, terms of service pages and sitemap and thing like that. But in terms of your actual content pages, you might have 3, maybe 4 pages. It's just a blog. Now, I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. I mean it is specifically a blog. That's okay. Put your blog on the first page. But if you do that, put snippets of your post, not the whole post, because people are not going to read down that page of 10 posts. They're just not. And they're going to leave. It's overwhelming. It's too much. But if you give them snippets, they'll scan down through all 10 to see what you're writing about, and then they'll go back and pick 1 or 2 that they want to read. Go to a news page, CNN or MSNBC or Fox, any of the big news websites, and go and look at how they put their stuff out there. They don't put a whole report and then another whole report and another whole report. They put links and snippets that get your attention and give you some of the material and get you there. Now, I find the frustrating thing that they're doing a lot now is they're filling up their websites with all these non-related things that they get paid because you click through to them, and it's some other commercial outfit that's using, the top 10 list of celebrities who drive Porsches or whatever, and you go and you look, and you're getting bombarded by advertising, and they got paid for sending you to that site. It's not news at all, but they build it into their page like it is news snippets. You don't want to get into that kind of stuff, or you'll pay a price for it. You get paid for it, but you'll pay a price for it. So you want to make your blog secondary to your website. Your website is about your business. Put the focus there and make the blog secondary. The blog will actually do better if you do that. Now, if you have a reason for making the blog up front, then use your blog and make sure that you use it well, because you've chosen to make it the focus of your website. So now if your blog is empty, or only has late posts, then you've got some issues there that you're going to have to deal with. Hi, Barbara. Welcome. I see you joined, and Rob and Bharat, I think maybe joined and left, and Khalid. Welcome, all of you. We're talking about business blogging, and if I missed anybody, I apologize. I do try to catch people as they join. And so want to keep that blog in its appropriate place. Let's move on from that. And here's the next thing, and boy, know anybody? Straying from the point, getting caught into some things that are side stories to what you're doing. Now, in a live presentation, I do that a lot. Thanks, Cindy. There is there's a flow and an ebb and flow that goes on in a live presentation, and different people have different points, and the side chat bar has information that I can comment on, and from that comes other thoughts, and so we vary a little bit. And I'm not looking to do just a dry, straight up presentation anyway. It's a conversation, and so that happens in live situations. Sitting around a coffee shop, as the analogy was, you talk about things and the conversation goes places. But on your blog, you want to have a purpose and a focus for your blog. Now, it might be multidimensional. Your business may cover a variety of things, especially if you're a life coach or a motivational coach or a purpose coach of some kind. You are going to be sharing a variety of topics, but it's still focused on your business. And you may even dress those topics up with personal stories. That's great. Talk about what happened with the kids today that led you to thinking about something. Talk about how the interaction at the store led you to understand better about certain things. That's okay. It doesn't have to be dry business, but it needs to relate constantly. Every post you make needs to relate in some way. And even if the purpose of the post is to share a story, find a way to tie it into the theme and context of your business. So you don't want to stray from the point. You want your material to be relevant in your business blog. Now, a personal blog, personal Facebook timeline, you can be all over the place. That's fine. But remember, we're talking about business blogging here. And if you do write a lot about yourself and your personal things in your blog, seriously consider breaking it out as a separate blog. Set up a personal blog and a business blog. I know when you're a solopreneur, you're working from home, it's tough to separate your personal life from your business life. It's almost impossible. But you need to focus that business blog and then take the stuff that doesn't fit it and put it somewhere else. That's certainly a good reason to have two websites, two blogs. Or put the personal stuff in a personal Facebook page. That certainly works. And RG's asking if business versus group on Facebook. I prefer groups over pages for Facebook. I think there's far more power in a group. A page is good for you to deliver your stuff. And so having pages that reflect your businesses makes sense if you have more than one business, more than one page. And that's just a good, benchmark stamp on your business. That's good. But a group brings other people and gets the conversation going, gets indexing going, interaction going, and works wonderfully for inbound marketing. So if you're not running a group on Facebook now, do go and look at groups and their structure and how they can work for you, because they are much, much more powerful for what you're doing. You will find groups can really play well. There's other facets on Facebook and other social media sites as well that you can schedule events and a whole variety of things. We'll talk about those separately at another time, but they are powerful tools in support of your blog. So do look into those and consider them. Here's another point. Now, this is a difficult one to balance. And that's what I call the me concept. You simply promote yourself and nothing else. And yes, there's a necessity to promote you and who you are. You want an about page that appropriately shows who you are and fills in the information for people, because they want to know. They want to know who they're dealing with. They want to know your credibility, your credentials, what makes you the person they should be with. And that's okay. So you want to do some of that. But when that's all you do, when blog post after blog post after blog post is about me, you get sick of me and you go somewhere else. Share the material that people need. We used to say in the formal type of advertising, sell the sizzle, not the steak. And so you want to sell, when you have something to sell, a program, a product, a service, it has certain functional things, certain features that you can label and sell, and you can tie that around yourself. But surprisingly, people are less interested in the features than they are in the benefits. what the thing is going to do for them. People are self-centered. That's human nature. And so we all are going to be self-centered and try to promote ourselves and what we do and what we offer and what we share when people are interested in what it will do for them. So you want to promote the benefits. You want to sell the sizzle or the aroma. That's the thing that you want to sell, not the steak itself. And so you want to look at that. And in today's inbound marketing structures, it's really the outcomes, what's in it for them. And that's that back to those three questions again. Who is it? What's it about? And what's in it for me? What do I get? Those are the three things. So who is it? They want to be sure they've got to the right place. What's it about? Remind them. Tell them what you're actually offering, because they may have thought it was something else. They may be, they may be looking for Steve Henry, and they get to the place and it says Steve Henry. Okay, they got to the right place. What's it about? Oh, they were looking for Steve Henry, the chiropractor, not Steve Henry, the WordPress wizard. So they know right away they're on the wrong place. And then what do they get? It is Steve Henry. It is the WordPress wizard. That's who they're looking for. Now, what's in it for them? Not what's in it for me. Not what do I deliver to it, but what's in it for them. So that's kind of the structure that we have to go. And Cindy says that groups and pages depend on the purpose. Groups do not keep things in date order. That's true. Every time you add to a post, it bumps that post to the top of the list, whereas the timeline is, in fact, the timeline. And when you add to the items, they tend to stay where they are. So there is a variation in that. The thing about the group is, though, that the posts that are of interest to people, the ones people are commenting on and liking and all the various things that they do, those then pop to the top. So people who are interacting are up there at the top, and it encourages more interaction. So that's why I say that a post, or a group rather, is a good community event. It brings people in and it gets the exchange going on. And the page, which is more of a linear type of thing, allows you, again, as Michael has shared there, good for sharing information, so that you can post new things and it pushes the old stuff down and the new stuff is always there. So that is useful for that information, for that sharing of content. Whereas, as Michael points out, the groups are good for conversations. It's that community kind of thing that's going on. So they are different. But I think today you'll get more value, more mileage out of the sizzle, the conversation, than you will out of the steak, the information. So keep that in mind, just a thought. Debbie, hey, welcome. Glad to see you joined us. We're talking about the 7 business blogging mistakes that you need to avoid. So we'll move on to the next one here. And that is leaving your readers stranded. Wow. We've all heard about the call to action, and we want to put a call to action in each post that we have. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to stand up and wave the pom-poms and say, buy something. A call to action can be simply at the end of what you've shared saying, what do you think? The 3 words, what do you think? A call to action. And they can comment in the post. Now you can get more specific. What are your feelings on whatever the topic was? Please share in the comments below. You can be more specific. Some people need to be nudged. When you say, what do you think? They'll think, well, I think so-and-so, and they'll never share it with you. So you might need to say, please post in the comments below if you have the comments section active on your blog. And the comment section, although it can be a nuisance to manage, is a great way to get interaction going with your blog. So you want to consider that. A sidebar chat like this that we have here in the group, and I guess it's that way for you people, but for me it's over there. So it's actually over there physically, but when I look at myself here, I'm pointing the other way for it. So if you see me looking the other way, it's not because I'm ignoring you. I'm actually reading your comments. But a sidebar chat is a good thing, and there are plugins for Facebook that will allow you to put a live chat in the sidebar that you can have beside your blog. So that's something to consider as well. So then it's that communication that works, and that's good. Fareed, I'm going to reject your call in right at the moment. I want to present this material before we get somebody in the seat, but I will open up a seat at the end, so feel free to hang around if you wish. So, you don't want to leave your reader stranded at the end of the blog saying, huh? Or, okay. The material may be really good. Hey, that's cool. And then what do I do with it? So you want to actually see if you can't have some kind of a call to action at the end of each of your posts. Now, you may have a very elaborate call to action. Check out this page and sign up for our program or whatever. That's good too. So vary your call to actions, make them different, make them go to different places. Sometimes they can be links on site. You can be writing a blog post about a program that somebody else is offering, and call to action can be to ask them to go to the link where they can see more about that program. There's just a whole variety of things, but make the blog take them somewhere else. A good call to action may even be to another blog. If you're writing a blog series where you have 3 or 4 or 5 posts about the same thing, at the end of the first post, and you may have to go back and do this later, but at the end of the first post, you can post a link to the second post, and so on. And in every post, except the first one, you can post a call to action that says, if you didn't start this series at the beginning, here's the link to the first post. So you can use your series of posts to have their own calls to action to each other. It just keeps activity going on your site, and it's very, very powerful. And that's one that's easy for anybody, even experts, to miss. So you keep on it. The next one is not telling anybody. Oh, some of our blogs are the best kept secrets in the world. You want to let people know about your blog. Post it in your social media groups that you're in. Some social media places don't allow you to share. I think that's the silliest thing. If you've got a group of members coming together, I'm in one group, and I really like some of the information that's provided in the group, which is why I go there. But the group has a rule that nobody can do self-promotion. Nobody can do self-promotion. What are we there for? Nobody can do self-promotion except the moderator of the group, because it's her group. She posts links all the time. That just, that's back to that me stuff. I want people to share with each other. I think it's far more powerful. And by the way, if I haven't made the point clear, post your links in the sidebar, who you are, where you're from, that kind of stuff. Excuse me. I'm not taking, I guess I should just lock the seat. I'm not taking people in while I'm doing the presentation here, so sorry about that. And Dr. Corey, other people that are jumping into a seat when they first pop into the room, I don't know you, and I'm sure you're a good person and you've got something great to share. If you've got a comment, please make it in the sidebar for now. And if not, when I wrap this up, we'll open up the seats to jump in, and I certainly appreciate you. Thank you. Let me move on to the next point here. We're running down to the end. And this is blog neglect. And I don't know anybody that neglects their blog. I don't know anybody that has long periods of a week or 2 weeks or 5 weeks or 5 months of no posts. Well, okay, I'm guilty. I've done that from time to time. You get busy with stuff. Now, I've got better at it because I've got tools that help me. My editorial calendar allows me to easily schedule my blog posts. WordPress in the native format allows you to schedule your posts. There's some people that don't know that. When I show them, I work, do a tutorial with them and show them how these things work. They say, oh, I didn't know that. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, it is. And so that's why you want to actually take some formal training in WordPress. It is a powerful, feature-rich process and system internally with just the core material. A lot of people never use some of the core material that's there. And scheduling posts has been around for a long time. It may have even been there from the very first. And it works beautifully. But it's just a little cumbersome to use. So if you use a tool like Editorial Calendar, which is a plugin, you will be able to easily schedule your posts out over the coming weeks and months, and you can pre-fill the gaps so you don't have to worry about times when you're busy and not able to write. I write a lot of current posts, but I also try to schedule out posts that are one every 2 or 3 days going forward, so that there's always a couple of posts a week. Even if I get really busy or get real sick or something, there's always 2 or 3 posts popping in there, and that happens. And then when I write a good post, if it's something I have to share today, and I've already got a post scheduled for today, I can move the post that's scheduled to another date and pop the one in live today. Or if the post that I had scheduled has already posted, then I can just post a second post today. There's no law that says you can't have 2 posts on one day. You generally want to post your posts apart to fill in the days when you don't have anything. But if you've got something else to share, something else to say, and it's current, hey, post 2, 3, 4 posts a day. That's okay. In fact, that's actually good. It's just hard to do that every day, so keep that in mind. Cindy mentions here that some Facebook groups or some social groups on other platforms as well only allow self-promotion on a specific day of the week. It's okay. That's a good thing for some people, and better that than nothing. I just think that's silly. You know, what if the day that they allow posting is, say, Saturday, and here it is Monday, and I've got something really good that's happening Wednesday that I want to share. I got to wait till next Saturday to share it. That's kind of silly. So, I don't share in that group. That's okay. But it's too bad, because there's a lot of good groups, and I understand that, people are worried about runaway self-promotion. So you moderate that. That's what moderation is about. That's why people are called moderators. You moderate that. You speak to people who self-promote, and if you have to, you kick them out of your group. I've got one person that is a member of most of my groups. I have several Facebook groups, and he's a member of most of those groups. He's been banned in 2 groups. Now, I haven't banned him in all of them because I actually like the guy and I like what he does, but he gets a little bit over exuberant about his stuff, and he posts, and in some of the groups he was posting every hour. And the groups, he's automated it. He's got some automated stuff that's posting every hour. And I've got groups that if he posts every hour, his stuff gets buried. I've got groups that are posting, several posts a minute. I have one group that has 20,000 members, and the posts are just flying through that timeline. It's like Twitter. And so, if he posts less than once an hour, he's not going to be found. But I've got other groups where people post, there might be 1 post a day. They're not heavily active groups. And so if he's posting every hour, it's ridiculous. And I talked to him, and I told him about some stuff, and he just didn't want to change his automated stuff. So we banned him from a couple of groups that are there. You have to do that sometimes. Nice guy, banned in a couple of groups because he wouldn't adapt to what was necessary. And I'm going to do a whole session on group moderation in the future, because there are some things that I've learned from running groups that I think are worthwhile. And my way isn't the only way. I mean, that's the point I keep making, is that you're going to work with what works for you. Cindy says there's time and a place. Yep, exactly. And for different people, different strokes for different folks. So you want to look at those things and adjust what works for you. But remember, the group isn't about you. That's the mistake that a lot of moderators make. And I've certainly made that mistake too. But the group isn't about you. Your personal timeline is about you. Put whatever you want there and make the rules. But your group is about the group. It's about people that are participating. And so you want to develop rules that work to keep the group under control, but, encourage and allow people to participate in the way that the group should be. And so sometimes that's letting go a little bit of the control. I find some of my best groups are made up of people, and they're on the topics that people, really they'll participate in, because they've brought the topics. And so if I tried to control those topics because they're just a little bit off from where my vision of the group is going, I would have a very good group with nobody in it. So think about those things. And it really has to do, getting back to your blog is the same sort of thing. Post the stuff. It has to be on the topic of your business and the things that you want to share. And yes, you're encouraging the people and you're bringing the people along, but you want to be able to share material that will interest those people as well, that will cause them to come back. So don't neglect your blog and think about who you're writing for. The next one is not monitoring comments and not responding to comments. You know, that's a hard one to do. And I have in the past had some blogs where I've turned off comments just because it's problematic. First of all, there's so much spam. You know, a lot of times people try to figure out how to game the system. And SEO was the biggest game of all time, I think. People spend a lot of time figuring out how to game the system. So they set up ideas, for example, when backlinks were a measure, when simply having backlinks was a measure of authority for your site, something called PageRank. You wanted to get more backlinks. And so the people that were playing the game found ways to get backlinks, even though that they weren't relevant, even they were just raw backlinks. And one of the easiest ways to do that was to post a comment on a blog that didn't moderate their comments and allowed the comments to post automatically, and to post that comment with a link to your own website in it. And so people did that, and there's even software that will automatically go around and look for WordPress websites and automatically post those comments. And some of the comments are just junk. You know, some of them actually just have filler words in them. They're obviously junk. Some of them have tried to write a paragraph that looks like they're actually commenting on your site, but it doesn't quite match. And it's obviously just generic text. But those are shared by automatic software programs that go out and post these on sites. And so all kinds of filters have been developed for the way to keep people from being able to post automatically, like CAPTCHA letters and numbers you have to type in to prove you're real, or being signed up with some service like Gravatar or somewhere so that you can only post if you're known to the service. You know, things like that, using your Twitter account to validate your post. And so it's getting better. And there's a better way to do comments, and that's good. But in the past, I've turned off comments, and that's bad, because that interaction with the real people on your blog doesn't happen. And when you lose that interaction, you lose people. So it's important to do that. So keep that in mind. Have comments, and then work your comments. Moderate them. Respond to them. A good friend of mine that I've met online, Charlene Burke, does regular blabs here as well in the morning. They're a little too early for me, so I don't get on them as often as I would like, but she does a series on Think and Grow Rich. You might want to try to catch that sometime. Charlene Burke, B-U-R-K-E. And she's taught me a lot about blab and blogs and Facebook and so on, just by what she does. She's never taught me anything in a formal lesson, but she's shared so much just by what she does. She's been a good role model for me, and I've learned a lot. An old dog here picking up new tricks because I've seen somebody doing it right and been able to recognize that, pick up those ideas, and slowly and sometimes painfully work those into what I do. So, it really is important. Stuart sharing about thousands and thousands of spam comments. Doesn't get rid of all of them, but Akismet is a good plugin to help with that. It'll filter off the spam comments. You can flag, if there's new people that come to your site that start spamming, you can flag them as spam, and Akismet will pick those up from then on. And then you can empty Akismet in one shot, and it works. It certainly helps. Akismet comes with WordPress. It's made by the guys at WordPress. It's a good solid plugin. It's free for personal use, but I think you now have to get a key for the personal use. And then if you use it for commercial use, you're supposed to sign up and pay for it. But it really is good. And you can get some, Michael's also posting there, Frugal Web Guy, about Akismet, and he's also mentioning WP Anti-Spam and Spam Shield. Another two good choices that are worth looking at. So then that's the final thing I wanted to talk about was comments. I know that's a difficult area. We could do a whole show on comments. Maybe I will in the WordPress Wednesday series sometime. And so one of the things that it really comes down to with blogging is content. It all comes back to content. If you're doing the right thing and you're delivering the right frequency and you're writing good content, it all comes together. And remember, if you're having trouble writing content, you can always hire it done. You can get guest posts, and oftentimes you can get people who will gladly post for free if they can put their link in the post. Remember those backlinks that people wanted and they were junking around putting them in silly comments? Well, now you can put a guest post on somebody's site, have a post that's well written about what suits that website, and put your link back to your own website. Most people accepting guest posts will gladly provide a link back, usually in a bio or byline piece at the bottom. Sometimes that's set up as a separate piece through a plugin. WordPress has its own bio. If you're setting the person up to be able to write their own posts, then you can have that bio appear automatically with the link. And those are good things that can be done. So you want to seriously consider how you're going to be doing those things and how you're going to get the content. But don't take just any guest post. I've had guest posts sent to me that are badly written, very bad grammatically, obviously English as a second language writer, and just not up to par. And sometimes things that are sent to me that have nothing at all to do with my site, so I can't use them. In most cases, though, even if they're badly written and have a good topic, I'll get permission from the person to rewrite the article because, heck, it's a great idea. It's some good material there. The research is already done, saves me a lot of time. I can whip through and fix up the writing and post it under their name and give them the link back. That's good. I'm glad to receive guest posts. It's just a way to get some good content. There are companies that will contact you about putting guest posts. Monitor their stuff carefully. Some of them will offer it in exchange. They'll write the post if they can get the link back. That's okay. It's a good, fair exchange. It's good value for you. The SEO value of those new posts coming out every week, filling in whatever you're doing, that's good value, and it's worth the link back. But make sure the content continues to be good, because especially if you give them the ability to auto post without approval, then it can change up the quality of their work without letting you know. They'll bring on a low-paid writer. They might send you 3 or 4 really good posts to get you in there, and then they put a low-paid writer that doesn't do research and doesn't write the right stuff. So you got to stay on top of it. It's not as much work as writing for yourself, but you want to stay on top. There are other places that will pay you to post their stuff, and usually there's some kind of an ad or promotion component in it. Think about places for them and not places for them, as Cindy said, a time and a place. But it is a revenue source for your site. You may want to make a separate category for guest blogs or for promotional blogs and have that as a separate category. Most of the places that do pay will accept that, so it's worth looking at. So it's all about content. That's what it comes down to. And there we are, the hour. So if anybody wants to jump into a seat with comment about what we're talking about, we'll keep the recording on for a moment or two while I you see if you want to do that. Get your makeup fixed or your hair combed or a clean shirt or even a shirt, guys. But if not, I'm going to wrap the recording, and I'll just hang around for a bit privately. And Yusuf, I missed when you joined, if you're still here, but welcome. Glad to have you with us. And I did see some new faces that stayed around. And Rob, I missed you coming in too. I see you here, software consultant, entrepreneur, and futurist. And we got quite a good little group through here today. Thank you very much, everybody, for being with us. And for those who are watching the replay, thank you for that. We do get quite a number of views on our replays. I'm encouraged by that, actually. And I'm encouraged by the growing group of people that are coming regularly. I hope you're finding some value in what I have to share. I do research it. I do put a little bit of time into this. It's not just an ad hoc, off the cuff thing. Because I think there's a lot of good value here that can be shared, and I want you to get that value. I do accept comments and criticisms and critiques. If anybody wants to share, they can post in the sidebar publicly, or they can just send me something privately. Always glad to hear whether something's good, bad, or indifferent. I'll take your advice and apply it as I can. I won't necessarily change my opinion, but I will consider what you say in terms of the type of material you're looking for. There's so much material, any topic, business blogging. I shared 2 books today on the topic. I have a book of my own on the topic, which I gave a copy away. It's just on and on and on, the material that's available. I could do 100 sessions of this and never talk about anything but business blogging. We are going to limit it to 10. So there's 2 more. Join us next Monday and the Monday after for the last 2 in this, or catch us on the replay. And I'm going to wrap up the recording. Thank you very much for being here with us live. And thank you very much for watching the replay. We'll see you again on Wednesday.